What if an object, innocent in appearance, could harbor a force so malevolent it defies the boundaries of reason? Picture a simple Raggedy Ann doll with its soft fabric and yarn hair, a relic of childhood joy, yet whispered to be a vessel for a demon's will. This is not the stuff of fairy tales or Hollywood fiction, but a chilling chapter from the annals of the esoteric, where the veil between the seen and unseen grows thin. The Annabelle doll, known as the most mystical and terrifying artifact in modern paranormal lore, beckons us to question, can an object truly become a conduit for darkness, or is it merely a mirror reflecting our deepest fears? In this journey, we will unravel the true story of Annabelle, a doll that has haunted the imaginations of millions and left an indelible mark on those who dared to cross its path. Far beyond the silver screen's dramatizations, the real Annabelle, ensconced in a glass case inscribed with sacred prayers, carries a legacy steeped in mystery, fear, and spiritual warfare. We'll explore its origins, the chilling events that led paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren to lock it away, and the profound lessons it offers about the nature of evil and the power of faith. From ancient spiritual teachings to modern esoteric insights, this video will peel back the layers of Annabelle's story, revealing not just a tale of terror, but a window into the unseen forces that shape our reality. Prepare to step into a narrative that challenges your understanding of the material world. We'll uncover the history of this enigmatic doll, delve into the spiritual principles that explain its alleged possession, and offer practical wisdom for navigating the unseen realms. Stay with us as we venture into the shadows, where the Annabelle doll waits, silent but ever watchful, to teach us truths that linger long after the lights go out. In the shadowed corners of human history, where the mundane meets the mystical, tales of objects imbued with supernatural power have whispered through the ages. The Annabelle doll, a seemingly innocuous Raggedy Ann, stands as a modern relic in this ancient lineage, a vessel said to be touched by a force beyond our world. To understand its story, we must first journey into the esoteric traditions that frame the concept of possessed objects, where the material and spiritual realms collide like tectonic plates, unleashing forces both wondrous and terrifying. Across cultures, from the sacred fetishes of ancient Africa to the talismans of medieval Europe, objects have long been believed to serve as conduits for spiritual entities. In the Hermetic teachings of ancient Egypt, it was said that skilled priests could imbue statues with divine or malevolent spirits, animating them to act as oracles or guardians. The Talmud speaks of the golem, a clay figure brought to life through sacred words, yet capable of chaos if mishandled. These stories echo a universal truth: the material world is not as solid as it seems. As the philosopher Plato suggested, our reality is but a shadow of a higher realm where ideas and perhaps spirits hold sway. An object, then, can become a bridge, a doorway through which unseen forces step into our world. In Christian mysticism, the concept of demonic possession extends beyond the human soul to inanimate objects. The Book of Exodus warns against idols, not merely as false gods, but as potential vessels for malevolent entities. The Catholic Church's rite of exorcism, codified in the Rituale Romanum of 1614, include protocols for cleansing objects tainted by demonic influence, acknowledging that evil can anchor itself to the physical. The Annabelle doll, as we'll see, fits squarely into this tradition, a modern artifact that resonates with ancient fears of spiritual corruption. But why would a demon choose a doll? Esoteric wisdom suggests that malevolent entities are drawn to objects infused with human emotion. A doll, cherished by a child or revered as a keepsake, becomes a repository of love, fear, or longing, emotions that act like beacons in the spiritual realm. The 13th century mystic Meister Eckhart wrote that the soul's attachment to the material gives form to the formless. In other words, our focus. The Annabelle doll, a Raggedy Ann with faded red yarn hair and a stitched smile, sits locked in a glass case in the Occult Museum of Ed and Lorraine Warren, surrounded by warnings and prayers. To the untrained eye, it's a relic of childhood nostalgia. To those versed in the esoteric, it's a vessel of malevolent intent, a physical anchor for a force that defies rational explanation. To unravel its mystery, we must first explore the chilling true story of its origins and the events that marked it as the most mystical and terrifying doll in the world. In 1970, a young nursing student named Donna received the Raggedy Ann doll as a gift from her mother. It was a simple, sentimental present meant to adorn her apartment and evoke memories of childhood. But soon, the doll began to move. At first, the signs were subtle. Annabelle would shift positions on the bed or appear in a different room. Donna and her roommate, Angie, dismissed these as quirks, perhaps the work of a forgetful mind. But the movements grew bolder. The doll was found kneeling, a position impossible for its floppy limbs, or clutching notes scrawled in childlike handwriting. "Help us." The air in the apartment grew heavy, as if the very walls exhaled unease. Esoteric teachings offer a lens for understanding this phenomenon. In many spiritual traditions, objects can become imbued with energy through human attachment, much like a river carving a channel through stone. The doll, a gift tied to familial love, became a focal point for spiritual activity. But what kind of spirit? Donna and Angie, seeking answers, turned to a medium who claimed the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had died on the land where their apartment stood. The roommates, moved by pity, invited the spirit to stay, believing they were comforting a lost soul. This, as ancient wisdom warns, was a grave mistake. The Zohar, a foundational text of Kabbalistic mysticism, cautions that inviting an unknown spirit is like opening a door in the dark. You cannot know what steps through. The disturbances escalated. Blood-like stains appeared on the doll's dress. Objects levitated or vanished. A male friend, Lou, experienced a visceral sense of dread, later claiming to have been attacked by an unseen force, claw marks appearing on his chest. It was then that the Warrens, renowned paranormal investigators, were called. Ed and Lorraine, steeped in Christian demonology, quickly dismissed the idea of a benevolent child's spirit. Their assessment was chilling. The entity was not human but a demonic force masquerading as innocence to gain trust. Like a predator cloaked in the guise of prey, it had manipulated the roommate's compassion to deepen its hold. This deception aligns with esoteric principles of spiritual warfare. In Christian mysticism, demons are said to exploit human vulnerabilities, empathy, curiosity, or fear to anchor themselves in the physical world. The doll, as a cherished object, was a perfect vessel, its sentimental value amplifying its spiritual potency. The Warrens' intervention marked a turning point. They performed a blessing on the apartment and removed the doll, placing it in their occult museum under strict spiritual containment. But the story of Annabelle was far from over, as its influence continued to ripple, challenging our understanding of the boundary between object and spirit.
The Annabelle doll, now confined in a glass case etched with sacred sigils, remains a silent sentinel in the Warrens' occult museum, yet its story pulses with questions that probe the edges of human understanding. Why does this doll, unlike countless others, wield such power? What forces sustain its alleged malevolence? And what can it teach us about the unseen realms? To answer, we must delve deeper into the esoteric principles of spiritual attachment, the nature of demonic entities, and the subtle interplay between human will and supernatural influence. The Warrens' conclusion that Annabelle was possessed by a demonic entity, not a human spirit, hinges on a key tenet of Christian demonology. Demons are masters of deception. Like a shadow mimicking a form it does not own, these entities often pose as benign spirits to gain a foothold in the physical world. The supposed Annabelle Higgins, the child spirit the medium claimed inhabited the doll, was likely a fabrication, a lure to exploit the compassion of Donna and Angie. The Malleus Maleficarum, a 15th century text on demonology, warns that demons clothe themselves in the guise of innocence to ensnare the unwary. This tactic allowed the entity to deepen its influence, feeding on the emotional energy of the household. The doll's movements, the cryptic notes, the blood-like stains, all were calculated to provoke fear, a potent fuel for malevolent forces.
But what makes an object like Annabelle a suitable vessel? Esoteric traditions suggest that objects can act as spiritual capacitors, storing and amplifying energy. The Raggedy Ann doll, steeped in Donna's affection, became a magnet for spiritual activity, much like a crystal absorbing might. The entity's attachment was not random. It was strategic. In Taoist philosophy, objects tied to human emotion, whether love, grief, or obsession, can become yin anchors, drawing restless energies from the unseen world. The doll's childlike form, evoking innocence, was a perfect disguise for a force seeking to manipulate and destabilize. The disturbances surrounding Annabelle also reveal a lesser-known aspect of demonic influence: the ripple effect. After the Warrens took custody of the doll, its malevolence did not cease. Visitors to the museum reported feelings of oppression, and some claimed accidents or illnesses followed their encounters. One infamous incident involved a young man who mocked the doll, only to die in a motorcycle crash hours later. These events suggest that the entity's influence extends beyond the doll itself, like a spider's web vibrating with the slightest touch. This aligns with the Kabbalistic concept of klipot, or shells, which describes spiritual forces that cling to the material world, creating a network of influence that can ensnare the unwary. Yet the Annabelle story also offers practical wisdom. The Warrens emphasized the importance of spiritual boundaries, never inviting unknown entities or engaging with objects of uncertain origin. In modern esoteric practice, this translates to cleansing rituals, such as smudging with sage or using blessed salt to sever unwanted attachments. The doll's containment in a glass case, inscribed with prayers and blessed regularly, reflects a principle found in many traditions: sacred boundaries can restrain malevolent forces. For those navigating the spiritual realm, this underscores the need for discernment. As the Sufi poet Rumi wrote, "The world is full of voices, but not all are true." Testing the nature of any spiritual presence through prayer, intuition, or ritual is essential to avoid deception. Annabelle's story also challenges us to reconsider the nature of evil. Is the doll inherently malevolent, or is it a mirror reflecting the chaos of human fear and fascination? The entity's power, the Warrens argued, thrives on attention. By fixating on the doll, we amplify its influence, much like pouring water into a dry riverbed. This raises a profound question: can we, through awareness and discipline, starve such forces of their potency? The answer lies in balancing respect for the unseen with the courage to assert our own spiritual authority.
The Annabelle doll, locked away in its glass prison, continues to captivate and unsettle, a silent testament to the mysteries that linger at the edge of our understanding. Its story, a tapestry woven from fear, faith, and the unseen, forces us to confront the delicate boundary between the material and the spiritual. We've journeyed through its chilling origins, from a simple gift to a vessel of malevolent intent, and explored the esoteric principles that explain its power. We've seen how human emotion can anchor unseen forces, how deception cloaks itself in innocence, and how spiritual discernment can shield us from the shadows. Now, as we stand at the crossroads of this tale, what wisdom can we carry forward? The Annabelle doll teaches us that objects, though inanimate, are never truly lifeless. They absorb the energies we pour into them, love, fear, or obsession, becoming mirrors of our inner worlds. Like a lake reflecting the sky, they can also draw forces beyond our sight, some benevolent, others predatory. The doll's story reminds us to approach the spiritual realm with reverence and caution, to test every presence with the light of discernment. As the ancient Greek maxim urges, "Know thyself, for it is our own vulnerabilities, our unchecked curiosity or misplaced compassion that can open doors to the unknown."
Let Annabelle's legacy linger as a question in your heart. What unseen forces shape your world, and how will you meet them? Step forward with curiosity tempered by wisdom, for the greatest mysteries are not in haunted dolls, but in the courage to face the unknown within and beyond. Reflect on this, explore the practices we've shared, and subscribe to join us as we unravel more secrets of the esoteric, where every shadow holds a spark of truth.